Hello everyone, welcome back to the show. Now if you don't already know, this is my top 10 bad games from good franchises. And this is a part 2 to a 2-part video. So if you haven't seen the first one, I'll put a little link up right there. And also there'll be a link down in the description. So I'll give you some time to click it if you haven't already seen it. So how are things in school? That bully still giving you trouble? Saw you over there talking to Allison the other day. Tell her how you feel yet? You should express your feelings to her. Yeah. No, Goku isn't yelling because he's going Super Saiyan. No, he's yelling because he saw how bad this game is. Now, everyone loves a good Dragon Ball Z game, but this is the furthest thing from a good Dragon Ball Z game. Dragon Ball Z Sagas is just a bad game. Now, the idea of an adventure Dragon Ball Z game, on paper, probably doesn't sound like a bad idea, and if taken seriously, could probably be very good. But no, Sagas took that idea and destroyed it. Now, the problem here comes from many things. Broken combos, broken special moves, broken story, broken multiplayer, broken visuals, broken everything in this game. This game is just broken, but it's not fair to just say it. Let me explain. See, the visuals for this game are pretty much unbelievably bad. It's like they took a model of the characters and just put it in, taking no attention to detail of the characters. It just looks like DBZ toys were tossed in a game, but hey, that can be forgiven. A game doesn't necessarily have to look good to be a good game. So let's move on to the gameplay. The combat system consists of combos and special moves. Special moves consist of things you'd expect, special beam cannons and kamehamehas, and all that good stuff. But they are very lackluster, just big blue blasts or big yellow blasts. Nothing amazing, and they honestly don't do much damage. Then there are the combos. Now I will give them this much, the combos are just a bunch of button mashing, so there's a point there. Yeah, it gets a point alright. One out of 100. You fail. However, these combos are broken and sometimes very hard to complete. And speaking of combat, the combat is so horrible. When it comes to boss battles, the bosses have so much room to move around to the point where it doesn't feel like a battle. It's just a bunch of flying, walking around, trying to stay alive and attack your enemy. And don't even try to play this game in multiplayer mode. It really just gets worse from there. And today, I will save you from seeing this atrocity. Let's move on to number 4. I don't know about you, but I'm a big fan of skating. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's an amazing experience. Now, naturally, that means I like a good game about skating, but sadly, this isn't a good game about skating. Skate 2 is a sequel to the game Skate. Now, unlike most of the other games on this list, this game isn't completely broken. The mechanics work well, the graphics are fine, everything in the game works well. They even improved on some things from the previous game. Now, there's only one fatal flaw. I don't know what the heck my purpose is. Now, I'm a firm believer of, if your gameplay is good and story lacks a bit, you'll be fine. But in this game, I have no clue what the purpose is. All I know is that apparently your main character was just in jail and now he's out. Go on from there. Like seriously, I can't tell you the premise at all of this game. I don't know what the partial goal is for me, and for some reason, since I don't really know what I'm doing or what my purpose is, I get bored really quick, making it very difficult to finish the game, which makes it fall very hard in comparison to the other two games. The original Skate had very good gameplay, game feel, and pretty good story as well. And Skate 3 as well did very well as far as gameplay goes, and the story was meh, but it definitely kept me more interested and was able to hold my interest longer than Skate 2. So I bet you're wondering, why is this game so high on this list? Well, it's simply two things. One, lack of character development, and horrible story direction, which initially don't seem like big problems, but they can determine whether a person continues to play the game or simply set it aside. Welcome one, welcome all. Welcome to the Disappointment Hour, folks, because we're about to talk about another very disappointing game. Now, Marvel vs. Capcom is a great fighting series, and Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is one of the best 2D fighters I've ever played. So imagine my 16-year-old boy mind when I found out Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was coming out after 11 years. 11 years? 11 years. 11 years. And you give me this? What is this? I was excited, but to see that 11-year wait only brought a major disappointment was devastating. I mean, let's start simple. The roster. Now, if you played MVC2, you'll know that the roster started off with what was already a huge amount of people. Not to mention the characters you could go on to earn, which made it a very fun and interesting experience. However, in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, the roster is probably less than half, which is where half of the boredom comes in. There isn't much experimentation with characters. Also, the final boss battle, it actually seems like it would be, for lack of a better word, epic. I mean, you're gonna fight against Galactus, Destroyer of Worlds, but after beating him, I feel no sense of accomplishment. All I feel is, well, that was cool. It's on TV now. Which is a problem. I should be encouraged to do it all over again. Instead, I feel I've gotten enough after one playthrough, and there's no new characters to unlock, and the boss battle doesn't feel nearly as difficult in the previous game, which is why it felt like a greater accomplishment. And also, there was a chance of getting new characters, but there's no chance of anything after winning, just the ability to do it all over again. But that's enough of the story and replay value. Let's speak about some other problems. Now, I haven't played the game in a while, but why were the online servers so broken at first? I mean, I thought there was a problem with the Wi-Fi on my PlayStation, but after all that, I remembered, hey, servers can suck really bad. I realized that, wow, these servers are horrible. I was almost never able to get into a game, and if I did, it felt so short, and sometimes the server would fail mid-battle. Now, overall, some may say Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is a great fighter, and that it may be, but overall, it's not a great game. Because a great game takes more than just a good combat system. But let's move on. Now, I could have put so many Sonic games on this list. Sonic 06, Sonic Boom, Sonic Lost Worlds, Sonic and the Black Knight, Shadow the Hedgehog. You get the point, there are a lot of bad Sonic games, but I decided for this list, no easy target. So I decided to talk about a Sonic game I feel doesn't get nearly enough hate. I mean, when I hear about bad Sonic games, I never hear this one brought up, and that's Sonic Riders. Oh my gosh, is this game terrible. I mean, I can see why this game exists, you know. Sonic is already known for being way past cool, huh? So the fact that he doesn't already have a full-fledged skating game is already a shock, but that's besides the point. Now, Sonic Riders is a racing game where Sonic and friends race on hover airboards. I'm guessing maybe, I don't know what they're racing for, but yeah, I don't know what the purpose is. I'm sure Eggman has something to do with it. You know, he's riding around on rollerblades and Sonic and his friends are like, whoa man, skaters only, HXC. And for some reason, Sonic rivals in this game are birds. Yeah, I don't think I get it. I think Sega even realized they had bad enemy choices because you don't really see them anymore after this game. So yeah, but there you go, there's the premise of the game. Race, win glory, and all that's cool stuff. Now let's talk about the gameplay. Now to be honest, this game doesn't feel fully broken, not like. But still, the design of the game feels like they tried to implement a lot of things and they really didn't work all the time, or they only work sometimes, or they didn't work at all. Or they were just completely broken. No, not broken. Just didn't work well. For example, each character is supposed to have a specific attribute to them. For Knuckles, strength, Tails, the ability to fly, and Sonic, speed grind, I guess. But I feel Sonic's grind only works every now and again, and opportunities for others only come every so often. So what's the point? And just to criticize this game even more as a whole, who thought it was a good idea to make Sonic race on airboards? And also, who thought it was a good idea to give this game a sequel? I mean, honestly, I don't feel this game isn't really designed for you to win. It's just try to endure as best as you can, and if you get to first place, cool. And if not, well, sucks to be you. Play this game again until you beat it. Okay, imagine a graph that constantly goes up, and up, and up, and up, and up, and up. But then, very drastically, takes a huge nosedive into the deep abyss with no sense of recovery in sight. This is basically the career of the Tony Hawk games. Once they got to the atrocity that is Tony Hawk's Project 8. This game feels so lazy, it isn't even funny. Now, during this time, Activision, they still had a pretty good name in gaming, but I think at this point we were starting to see their tricks coming out of the woodwork. Point being that with most other Tony Hawk games, they are over the top and unrealistic. Also, since the Thug series, they've had enjoyable stories and main characters that you can connect with. But Project 8 took all of this away just to add one simple gimmick, and that was the motion capture to make tricks look cool. I could only imagine what some of the ads for this game could have looked like. Yeah, young adult and or teenage demographic, are you bored with real skating? Well, why don't you play a game with realistic skating? Really? What game is that? Why, it's none other than Tony Hawk's Project 8. The experience will blow your mind with the realistic moves that we put with all the motion capture. Wow, my brain is hemorrhaging already! Now, skate to your local store and buy it today! Not only is the game horrible as far as game feel goes, let's go back to the story. Here's the story for you. You ride around town to be number one. Woohoo! And that's it. There's no real goal other than that. Yeah, you meet some pros along the way and get some sponsors, but that's it. Your main character has no personality whatsoever, he doesn't even talk, and in a game where you're trying to make a story, this does not work at all. True story, I played this game at a friend's house for a couple minutes and got so bored of it so quick. Now after, we've topped in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, the PlayStation 1 version at that, and did the exact same thing, and had way more fun playing the game. In all honesty, this game just doesn't feel fun to play at all, and I feel more effort went into making this game realistic that the fun aspect got left out, therefore turning it into a horrible experience overall. And it's so sad to see Tony Hawk franchise have 7 great games and then have this horrible thing come out, and it was only downhill from there. I mean, really, how could something like this happen? But who knows, maybe there's some good Tony Hawk game in the woodwork waiting to be created soon. Or maybe I'm just overthinking things. We'll see. Seriously, after playing all these horrible games, I need to play something good. And soon, please. Well, that's the end of this top 10 list. I'm Doji Now You Know. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Just don't play these horrible games. I'm just gonna go from here.